An investigation is underway into the accident yesterday in which 11 school children were injured. An illegal taxi driven by an unlicensed driver crashed into a barrier outside Parliament. The 16-seater was also overloaded. For more on this, we're joined by Monique Mortlock, eNCA reporter who is in Cape Town. Monique, what do we know since yesterday? What's the update now?
What we do know is that some of the children who were seriously injured in yesterday's accident, they may need operations today due to serious injuries on their legs and arms. A little later, we are hoping to speak to a parent whose two daughters were in the taxi crash. One of the daughters sustained serious injuries and the other, fortunately, sustained mild injuries. We'll be checking in with them just to see how the children are doing, how the family are doing, because obviously they've been through a traumatic ordeal. Some of the parents rushed to the scene yesterday morning when they heard that their children were involved in an accident, and they were among the first here. They then informed the educators at the Holy Cross Primary School. A little earlier, we spoke to one of the teachers whose one of their learners was involved in the accident, and this teacher, Mr. Nadeem Dolly, he informed us that the parents are quite shaken up. The teachers are shaken up, as well as the classmates of the learners involved. And he also said that this isn't the first time that their learners have been involved in a scholar transport accident. A few years ago, they lost one of their learners, a young boy, in a similar accident where a vehicle was allegedly overloaded, where kids were crammed into the taxi. What we know of this accident, according to the Western Cape Education Department, is that the 16-seater taxi had about 21 pupils inside it and 2 adults, one of the adults being the taxi driver, who also sustained injuries. I'm going to ask my colleague Asanda Javu just to show you the bollard that the taxi crashed in just outside of Parliament where we're standing. You can still see the scratches where the taxi had crashed into it. And while we were standing here, some police officers were here just looking at the scene, taking some pictures, doing obviously some inspection here just briefly. We are going to be finding out a little later from the police if the taxi driver is going to be arrested, if any charges are going to be brought against him, because some of the parents are asking questions: what's going to happen, who's going to be held accountable for this. But another question we need to ask is where the parents knew that they were, putting their child in a vehicle that was allegedly unlicensed, with an alleged unlicensed taxi driver. And from what we heard from the educator, Mr. Nadeem Dolly, a little earlier, the learners told him when he arrived at the scene yesterday that they heard the taxi driver shouting that the brakes don't work. So this is surely going to be another part of the police's investigation and the Transport Department's investigation into this incident. But hopefully we can get some answers from police a little later into the investigation of reckless and negligent driving.